I asked you a question, let's say, and everyone's from all over the country, right? So if I asked you a question and said, I'm just going to make up a number for my market. Let's say if I were to offer you a house, it's worth $300,000. And I said, would you give me $200,000? Who would give it to me? It's worth $3. Every hand, right? Yes. Okay. That's not a trick question. How many of you would give me $250 for that? $260? You guys are, who's not going to answer no matter what I ask? $270? $280? $290? No? Okay, let me ask you it differently. How many of you would give me $300,000 for that same house that's worth $300,000? If I said you didn't have to pay me for 10 years on it. Payments every month for rental payments, but they're very low. Let's say they're $1,500 and you can rent that for $2,000 or $2,500. How many of you are interested now? Oh, why? What changed? The time, maybe the monthly, the cash. So a lot of times we say no to a potential deal based on one thing and one thing alone, price. Price is important. It's just that it's not the only thing that's important when you're looking at a real estate deal, right? Because there's so many other opportunities of things that you can negotiate. When you look at a lease option, look at, these are some of the things you can negotiate. Price, of course, is important. It's not the only thing. Length of time is important. How about the monthly payment? How about monthly credit? What if I told you all $1,500 a month gets applied to the $300,000 purchase price? Is everyone interested now? Right, because now you got the terms. But sometimes we forget to ask that or explore that with the seller. So that's the kind of thing that I'm going to share with you today is thinking about how to get better about exploring options. Not necessarily lease options, but potentials with the seller. So when you have an opportunity, you're going to have to solve their situation, right? So you're looking for what is it that's important to them? I mean, I remember buying one of my first lease option deals. The lady had tried to sell it for $189,900 on the market with a real estate agent, and it didn't sell. She saw my ad and replied to it and it said something like, I'm looking for a long-term corporate lease or something like that. And of course, by asking her the questions, I find out, yes, she wants to sell it. You know what the most important thing to her was? Price. She says, I want $185,000. And I go, you wouldn't have gotten $185,000 had you sold it with a real estate agent. She goes, I want $185,000. And I go, okay, now I know she's stuck on her price. I have to work on the other areas to see if it works for me. If it does, I'm in. If it doesn't, I'm out, right? So we ended up working out a deal that this is years ago that I made like $40,000 on years ago because of the way we structured the deal. Now, she's my seller. She said she wanted to go rent a lakefront home. She was tired of the property. It was a big 10 acres or something. So she goes and rents a lakefront. 2 years later, what happens? She calls me up. Wendy, I need to be a lease option buyer now. Do you have another house for me? So I found a seller and a buyer out of the same deal because she loved how it worked for her, okay? Here's another one. Of course, the amount up front. I should have said that before. 0 down and low payments. Bam, right? Now you're looking at this deal looks pretty good. All right, and there's other ones as well, but we won't have time to go into that.